Trifecta handgun.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the Trifecta Handgun YouTube channel. This is actually the second time I'm doing this video because somebody did not turn the microphone on the first time. So unless you read lips, you could not watch the first video. I'm going to tell a story and I'm going to have a point to it kind of towards the middle of this. So I hope you'll stick around. So back in December, I bought this gun. It is the, of course, Smith and Wesson M&P 2.0 10 millimeter. And I also bought a Holosun 409C optic that goes on to it. And if you've watched the early videos, you may have noticed that optic and maybe had a question about it or whatever. But that's what I had. And I bought that optic because it had a 2 MOA dot on it. A really fine dot for a red dot. A lot of them have like 3 or 6 MOA dots. This one had a finer dot. It was going to be everything I wanted, and it was actually one of the less expensive Holosun optics out there. And if you remember early on, I had some issues with the gun, just the function of the gun. It wasn't going back into battery every time. I made some videos on that, and I also made a video talking about how I fixed it, which is just to take the gun apart and clean everything really well using acetone and alcohol and wipes, and I cleaned the recoil spring and just every little nook and cranny out, and I oiled it in all the places that Smith and Wesson recommended, and they actually tell you to clean the gun twice in the book. So that's the early days. And then I was able to get some decent groups finally with the gun and optic together at 25 and then at 50 yards. And I was pretty pleased. And the whole idea with those early videos is whether this gun was going to make my trifecta handgun of guns I would be willing to hunt with. I had the Encore, the Thompson Center Encore, 7mm 08, which I've killed several deer with. The Ruger 44 Blackhawk, which I've killed several deer with. They're grandfathered in, but this one had to prove itself. It was trying to make the team, so to speak. So I got to the point where I was shooting, the goal was 5-inch groups or less at 50 yards. And I was getting groups that were, some of them were, 3 shots within about an inch, inch and a half, and some of them would sneak outside of that. I'd get flyers once in a while. And it kind of disturbed me that I'd get these flyers, but at the same time, the flyer was still a killing shot and it was within that 5-inch group. So let's keep fast forwarding. So when I shot my groups at 25 yards with the hybrid hunter, all at once things were going all over the place. They were on paper for a while, and then all at once I couldn't even get anything on paper at 25 yards, an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So I took the optic off. I thought it must have been the optic, sent it back to Holosun. They gave me an RMA and all that stuff. Time goes by and they got a hold of me through email and offered to either send the same optic back that I had or upgrade. So I said, let's upgrade. Why not? Why not get a different optic? So I did my research, decided to get this 509T, which is a closed emitter optic with the titanium shroud around it. Kind of the latest and greatest technology, if you will. It's also a 2 MOA red dot, so I thought, perfect. So it shows up, I hastily put it on the gun, I go out, I shoot, and I didn't have super great results. Again, I'm using this hybrid hunter, didn't have super great results. Another day, I went out with my monopod at 25 yards. I just wanted to see what I could do. But I dry fire practiced before I started shooting, and I noticed that when the trigger would, go off, my red dot would snap to the left, to the right, very seldom stay put on the target. I thought, well, this is kind of odd. It goes, an inch to the right, inch to the left. So I'm, really bearing down, trying to figure it out. And all at once I pulled the trigger and the optic snapped clear off to the left of the screen. And I'm like, oh boy, something's wrong. So I reached down and the Optic plate is completely loose. Took the Optic off, noticed that one of the screws was broken off. So I took the other screw out, took the plate off, noticed that one of the recoil lugs on the plastic plate was also broken off. I don't even know if it was ever on there, to be honest with you, because I never noticed, but it was definitely broken off this time. I've been researching aftermarket plates up to this time, actually before the 509T actually showed up. I'm like, maybe I should get an aftermarket plate. So I knew about this company, C&H Precision, who I have no business relationship with. They don't know me. I got a hold of them, ordered the right plate. It showed up 3 or 4 days later from Georgia, I believe. I went through all their installation videos, installed it perfectly how they said to, and I went out recently with my monopod only at about 33 yards, and that's where I want to take you to, the targets. So 100% full disclosure, this is not my first target. I think this is like the third one and about 15 rounds in. I really had to get used to shooting the gun. I haven't shot it for a long time up till this moment. But eventually I started to get this pattern here. Here's a 3-shot group at 33 yards. And then I adjusted the optic, got these two, and then I got this flyer out here. And let me get a tape measure and we'll see what that looks like. So from the center of the target, that's about 2.5 inches. Not super stoked about that, but at the same time, I had this good group going down here. So I was like, let's move back to 50. So here's my 50-yard group, and I just put the gun in here for reference. Now keep in mind, this is 50 yards. This is half a football field. Let's take a look at the measurement here from the center. As you can see, one of them is obviously right in there, but these other two, it's about 2 3/4 from the center of the bullseye, and this one is about 2.5. So to me, that's fantastic. I mean, if I were shooting at a whitetail, obviously that one's good, but these two are also good. If you walked up to it, you're not going to be like, well, man, I sure did blow that one. It's going to be right where it needs to be. Nobody knows what 2.5 inches off in the kill zone looks like as long as you're aiming at the right place. So just to wrap things up, guys, I think if you're going to go with a polymer gun or even a 1911 and it has this already milled slide in it, I think you're doing yourself a super huge favor by just biting the bullet, buying an aftermarket mounting plate that's machined properly to fit the optic that you decided to put on it, rather than going through what I did with all the plastic plates and all the nonsense and all the struggle. A lot of ammo, a lot of months actually trying to get this thing to work. I'm sure I could have gone through all that a lot sooner had I shot a lot more, but I think you're going to do yourself a favor. Whether you go with C&H Precision or somebody else, doesn't matter, but do your homework, watch a lot of YouTube videos, read a lot on the internet, and find a system that works for you. Follow the installation instructions that they give you, and I think you're going to shortcut yourself to a quicker, more successful outcome and hopefully a successful hunt this year. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. I promise, I'm going to talk about the monopod and how I'm going to hunt this year with this gun. I have some tips that I want to give you. That's in the next video. I hope you'll sub. I hope you'll hit the like button. That'd be really nice of you if you do that. And what else? There's a bell. If you want to do the bell, you'll get notifications when the next video comes up. Instead of it going to you, or instead of you going to it, it's going to come to you. I'll see you in the next one.